Bonjour, ça va bien? Bienvenue à la classe aujourd'hui. So you're very welcome to lesson today. And this week, we are doing our revision of Spring 1. Okay, so that's brilliant. You've all done amazingly this term. And finally, we're at the end of Spring 1 and all of this week, we're going to be revising. Okay, c'est très bien. On va commencer. Alors, pour commencer, écrivez le titre. Revision Spring 1. So write down the title in your book, please, Revision Spring 1, et souligner and underline that. While you're doing that, I'm going to explain the objectives for this week. So we're consolidating our grammar learned so far in Spring 1, and you are going to be working independently throughout these lessons, revising the grammar and vocabulary, and you're going to be writing down targets all of this week in each of the topics we're covering to take a note of what it is that you need to revise, okay? We are going to be having our exam, but I'll let you know when we know about that. So the main thing is that you're revising this week for the term. Alors, on va commencer. Starter task is that I want you to go back through your book and I want you to write two lists. So a list of all the topics that we've covered this term. And your second list is what are the grammar topics that we've looked at on the verbs and the tenses, okay? So this is where your grammar cloud is going to come in really handy. If you've done your grammar cloud as you're going along, you're going to find that information super quick, okay? So get started now, please. A list of the topics and the grammar. Merci. Pause this while you do that task. Alors, on va continuer. So let's have a little look at the topics that we've covered. Any topic that you've written down in your book, if it comes up on my screen, you give yourself un point. Alors, so week 1, we looked at where we live and we looked at our school. Week 2, we looked at what we do at the youth club, the activities, and we were also learning about giving opinions and reasons. Week 3, we looked at animals. So we looked in particular at pets that we have at home and we looked at colors. Week 4, we looked at animals in the zoo, how to describe them and opinions and time phrases. And week 5, we looked at farm animals, again, descriptions and again, opinions, okay? So any that you need to note down in your book, please make a note of those now, okay? If you need to do so, pause the video while you do this. Alors, c'est très bien. Let's have a little look at our grammar topics that we looked at for Spring 1. Alors, so week 1, we looked at je with the apostrophe before vowels. We looked at the present tense of regular verbs, and we also looked at the present tense of the verbs habiter, en vivre, which meant to live. Week 2, we had a look at the present tense of faire, which means to do, and aller, which means to go. And we also looked at parce que c'est, which means parce que c'est, because it is, and how to give a reason using that. Okay, so week 3, we looked at adjective agreement for masculine, feminine, and plural. Then we also looked at the imperfect tense, and we had that lovely sentence, quand j'étais petit, j'avais. So when I was young, I used to. Or I had, j'avais is I had. Remember the E there was if you're feminine. If you're a girl, you say quand j'étais petite. And then we also looked at the conditional tense. So je voudrais avoir. I would like to have. Okay, give yourself a point for any of these that you had correct. Week 4, we looked at the perfect tense of verbs that take avoir. So our examples were j'ai vu, for I saw, and j'ai visité, for I have visited. We also looked at c'était, for it was, which is the imperfect tense. And we looked at negatives. Je n'ai pas vu, I did not see. Okay, c'est très bien. And for week 5, we had a look at plurals, how to, the plurals of our nouns and our adjectives. The present tense of être, we revised that. We looked at our opinion verbs plus le, la, les. So an example there was mon animal préféré, c'est le singe. Okay, and we looked at reasons plus plural plus adjective agreement. So let's have a look at an example. So, for example, mon animal préféré, c'est le singe, car ils sont amusants. Okay, so we were reminding ourselves of the S for the plural and also writing the verb in the plural, car ils sont. C'est très bien. Now, what I would advise you to do here is just take a photo, either with your phone or with your a screenshot or with your iPad, okay? Because it's a lot to write down, but just so that you have an overall view of what we did this term. Okay, alors on va continuer. Maintenant, on va pratiquer. So let's practice our adjective agreement, right? So you've got 5 little sentences here with words, and I want you to create sentences using the words, okay? Now you're going to have to use, or I want you to use the verb avoir, and I want you to translate your sentences. Now, the challenge here with the sentence is, can you use different pronouns, okay? So instead of just saying je, can you say tu, il, nous, vous, and il, plural, or elle, plural, okay? So that's challenge number 1. The next challenge is, instead of always using the present tense, so j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, etc., can you use different tenses, okay? That's a super duper challenge. So can you say, use the imperfect, j'avais, tu avais? Can you use the conditional, je voudrais avoir? Can you use the perfect tense, j'ai eu, etc. Okay, so let's look at a little example before we start. So we have our words here, lapin, marron, tortue, gris, and, oh, pardon. And here's a little sentence. So, j'ai un lapin marron, mais ma sœur a une tortue grise. Okay, so I have a brown rabbit, but my sister has a gray turtle or a gray tortoise. Okay, so now you've got the idea. I want you to be as creative as you want to be. Okay, and I want you to take 4 minutes for this task, okay? 4 minutes ici, just 4 minutes, and then move on. Okay, c'est très bien. Pause the video while you do this task. Merci. Alors, on va continuer. C'est des exemples. Okay, so what I've written here are just some examples. Your sentences will be completely different, okay? Your sentences will be totally different, but I'm just going to read out some little examples for you here, just in case you needed some help. Alors, mes frères ont un chien noir, mais j'ai un chat blanc. Okay, so my brothers have, my brothers have a black dog, but I have a white cat. Okay, je voudrais une tortue verte et un oiseau orange. So that was in the conditional. I would like to have a green turtle. Remember, adjective agreement for turtle because it's feminine. Et un oiseau orange, and an orange bird. Okay, again, we're looking at adjective agreement, but it's a lazy E, so it doesn't change. Okay, nous avons, again, we've changed the pronoun here. Instead of using je, we've changed it to nous. So nous avons du lapin. We've agreed with plural here. So we have 2 rabbits. Blanc, we have 2 white rabbits, adjective agreement again in S, and noir, again, adjective agreement. So we have 2 white and black rabbits, okay? You check your work. If you did a plural and you've remembered to put in the S and make it agree as well with the gender, you give yourself a point there. Well done if you've done that. Alors, ma sœur a un face marron et elle avait 3 serpents roses. Now, remember, if you used the color marron, remember that it's the exception to all the colors, okay? It doesn't change. It doesn't change by gender, so it's always the same, marron. Et elle avait, maybe you remember to use the imperfect tense, she had. So my sister has a brown stick insect, and she had 3 pink snakes. Oh, lucky her. That's just amazing. Alors, so elle avait 3 serpents. Remember our agreement, nouns, plural, you need an S, and adjective agreement, you need an S, okay? If you're doing this, if your sentences are agreeing, you're doing amazingly, okay? My last little example. So, j'ai vu un lion jaune. Par contre, je n'ai pas vu le tigre noir et orange. So, j'ai vu un lion. So, this sentence, I've put it in the perfect tense. J'ai vu. If you wrote a sentence in the perfect tense and it's exactly like that, well done you. Okay, give yourself a point there. So, par contre, if you're one of these people who added in a connective, give yourself another point. Well done you. Okay. So I saw a yellow lion, but I didn't see a black and orange tiger. Okay, so if you're someone who added in a negative, give yourself another point. That's super duper if you wrote je n'ai pas vu. Alors, so ici, I want you, now that you know all the different things that you could have added in, will you please write down your target? Okay, so what is your target? I need to what? I need to revise my plurals. I need to revise my adjective agreement for feminines. I need to revise my adjective agreement for plurals. I need to revise my verb avoir in the present tense. I need to revise, what else have we here? I need to revise the perfect tense, so j'ai vu. I need to revise my connectives to make my sentences even juicier and more interesting. I need to revise negatives, okay, to make my sentences more complex. And anything else? Oh, yes, I need to revise my imperfect tense, avait. So again, that I can use a different tense in my sentences, okay? So please pause now while you write in your target. What do you need to do? Alors, so this should take you about 2 minutes at the most, okay? Alors, maintenant, on va continuer avec le présent. On va pratiquer le présent. So now we're going to practice the conjugation of our verbs in the present tense. So you've got 9 sentences here, and I want you to write the sentence completely in your book, but I want you to conjugate the sentence in the correct form, okay? So we have all the different pronouns, je, elle, nous, tu, vous, etc. So for this task, you're practicing how to conjugate your verbs, your regular verbs. And there's also your verb avoir and être, which are the irregular verbs, okay? So let's just do the first one together. So je jouais, it's in the infinitive. Je something au basket avec mon frère. Okay, so how do we conjugate jouer in the present tense? What do we need to do? So I remember, for example, that I need to take off the ending, the ER family ending, and I'm left with the root, jou, J-O-U, and I know that I need to add on the correct ending for the first person singular, je joue. I need to add on the ending, okay? So I remember that the ending is an E for the first person, so it's je joue au basket avec mon frère, and then how do I translate that sentence? So that is, I play basketball with my brother. Okay, c'est très bien. So we've already done the first sentence together. Write that down in your book, please. Write down the translation. You pause the recording while you're doing this task, please. Now, I want you to take 4 minutes to do this task. Alors, 4 minutes pour faire ça. Okay, 4 minutes before we correct. So pause while you're doing this task. Merci. OK, on va corriger. Please, red pen correction, corriger avec un stylo rouge. Any that you get correct, give yourself a point. OK. Elle regarde la télé. She watches TV. Nous avons 3 chats blancs. We have 3 white cats. Tu attends ta mère. So you are waiting for your mother. Vous choisissez entre un cheval marron ou noir. So you are choosing between a brown or a black horse. Oh, lucky you. C'est très bien. Ils écoutent, with an ENT for plural, de la musique sur leur portable. So they are listening to music on their phone or on their mobile. Les vaches sont mignons. So the cows are clever. Okay, c'est très bien. Vous avez beaucoup de moutons. Alors, vous avez... You have lots of sheep. Nous sommes paresseux. Okay, so we are lazy, or nous sommes paresseuses. We are lazy for feminine. Okay, so please now I want you to write down your target in red pen. Écrivez avec un stylo rouge. What verbs do you need to revise? Okay, do you need to revise the present tense of ER verbs? Do you need to revise the present tense of RE verbs? Attendre is an RE verb. Do you need to revise the present tense of IR verbs? Choisir is an IR verb. Jouer, ER verb. Regarder, ER verb. Écouter, ER verb. Or do you need to revise the present tense of avoir or the verb être? Okay, so please pause while you write down your target. Don't take longer than 2 minutes, please, to write your target. Okay, pause while you're doing that. Merci. Alors, pour finir, our plenary task, you've got 3 tasks here, okay? So first of all is adjective agreement of plurals. I want you to write these 3 little phrases in the plural. Verbs, present tense. I want you to conjugate these 3 verbs in the present tense, okay? That's super quick. And the last little thing is I want you to write sentences using these 3 phrases, okay? And I want you to add in your opinion and reason. Okay, opinion and reason. So I'm going to give you the answers to the first 2, okay? So pause, please. It will not take you longer than 3 minutes, even 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to write the adjective agreement and the verbs, okay? So just pause while you're doing that first of all. Alors, on va corriger. So, un mouton blanc, c'est des moutons blancs. So did you have your S for your noun and your S for your adjective? Give yourself a point if you have this correct. Un chien effrayant it becomes des chiens effrayants. Okay, so just check, do you have an S for your noun and an S for your adjective? Un tortue lent is des tortues lentes. Okay, S again for your noun and S again for your adjective. Okay, c'est très bien. Verbs. So it's je regarde, nous finissons, and it's elles vont. Okay, so again, I want you to write down your target from those exercises. What is it that you need to revise? Do you need to revise the plural of nouns and adjectives? Do you need to revise the ER verbs in the present tense, the IR verbs in the present tense, the RE verbs in the present tense? Okay, please be clear and specific in your goal. Okay, so final little task for you now is I want you to write some sentences with these 3, so des moutons blancs, des chiens effrayants, des tortues lentes, and I want you to give your opinion. Okay, so for example, let's see. Je n'ai pas des moutons blancs, mais je voudrais avoir des moutons roses. Okay, so it can be totally wild and imaginative. It doesn't have to be true as long as the grammar is correct. Okay, merci beaucoup. Well done to you today. That was brilliant work. C'est génial. Tout le monde, c'est super. Submit your lesson to your teacher, please, so they can give you feedback. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir. À bientôt, tout le monde.